Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ironworker Gaming channel. Now I got a good one for you today. We are going to be going over map awareness, which I believe is the #1 fundamental you need to have if you want to keep your KD up in the Crucible and have a better time playing PvP. And just as a reminder, I am an average, above average PvP player. This video is made for lower skill players or casual players or people new to Destiny. This video is not necessarily intended for the unbroken gods that roam the Crucible. If you appreciate my perspective on these matters and you find this video useful or helpful in any way, how about leaving it a like? And if you'd like to see more low skill guides, discussions, and reviews, please consider subscribing to my channel. It helps me out greatly and I appreciate every subscribe I get. Now buckle up, because this one might be a little longer than my standard videos, but I feel this information is so important to the lower skill players that I need to get it out there. And I think it's best when they hear it from a person who is in their position or has been in their position in the past. So, map awareness. What exactly does someone mean when they say map awareness? Basically, it's understanding how the game flows around any given map. Knowing what to expect at certain parts in the map. Knowing where you are. Knowing what's around you. A good map awareness will definitely improve your KD in the Crucible. You're going to be able to help yourself out by putting yourself in a good position for the loadout you are running. You'll have a better overall sense of how things are flowing in the game and on the map. And if you're planning on jumping in the trials next week, you're going to want to listen up because great map awareness is going to be key to you winning. Now, I'm sure the argument could be made that there are so many more aspects to map awareness than just the things I'm going to cover in this video. But just for my sanity's sake, and yours, we're going to hit on the biggies and kind of leave the finer aspects maybe for another video. For this video, we are going to be focusing on the Javelin 4 map. Now, on screen, you can see this absolutely gorgeous and detailed Javelin 4 overhead view created by Relic. I'll link his Twitter page below. He has every Crucible map beautifully detailed and laid out on his page. I contacted him, asked him if I could use the map. He said, yeah, go for it. So, very gracious of him to let me use this map in this video. This is the map we are going to be referring back to several times as we analyze some of the gameplay aspects of map awareness. So, first thing we're doing when we jump into a Crucible match is we're kind of mentally coming up with a game plan. And yes, bullets downrange and team shot is still very important, but we're going to tweak it just a little bit and go with something I call the outside-in game plan. Now, without a game plan, we're just hopping into the Crucible match, running around willy-nilly, no real direction on what we're doing, no real stance on how we're going to play the map. So, definitely use this game plan if you are a lower skill player. On screen, I have the map pulled up again, and I have some highlighted areas between the A and C flag where I am generally going to be trying to stick to. I'm going to stay on the outside of the maps and use the edge of the map as a piece of cover. Because if it's the edge of the map, there's nobody shooting at you from over there. Your biggest threat in this area of the Javelin 4 map is going to be snipers. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be using a sniper to counter-snipe them. Any longer range weapon will kind of work well in this situation. As you can see, I am not using a sniper, I am using the Redrick's broadsword. If you don't have it, there's a long-form Crucible quest you can do to acquire it. But yeah, Redrick's broadsword, fusion rifle, seems to work pretty well for me when trying to lock down this area of the Javelin 4 map. So, now that we got a game plan, we kind of got a direction as to what we're going to try to do in this Crucible match. Let's jump in and start taking a look at some of the aspects of map awareness, starting with lanes. Lanes, simply stated, are the main traffic routes when moving from one side of the map to the other. In this 3-lane setup, as you can see, I have the lanes highlighted in green for you, is kind of standard practice in the PvP world. They like to have 3 lanes, one on each side and one down the middle. As you move down a lane, there are also going to be pass-through points, which I have highlighted in blue. These are spots on the map where you can transition from one lane to the adjacent lane. Now, Javelin 4's lanes aren't quite as straightforward as they are on some other maps, simply because we have that big hub in the center around the rocket. As the Crucible match progresses, you're going to see a trend as to which lanes are favored by the enemy team, and which lanes are going to be busier than others. It's just determined by which lane the enemy team prefers to play in. Now, these lanes can either be hallways and corridors or big open expanses. If you're looking at the Javelin 4 map, the top side near the B flag, hallways and corridors, great for close range gameplay. If you're looking at the bottom of the map, between the A and the C flag, where we're trying to stick ourselves for all intensive purposes, is a wide open area. Nothing above you, not a whole lot of cover on the sides. So now, knowing what a lane is and where they are located on the map, we will get into capture points for the control game mode. It is always a good idea to know where you are in relationship to the capture points. As you can see, Javelin 4 has a triangle-shaped capture point layout. A team will spawn near the A flag, a team will spawn near the C flag. Once those flags are capped, most teams tend to head straight for B, so that point will be contested almost immediately. You should always be thinking in your head about how you're going to move to the next capture point. What lane are you going to use? What pass-throughs are you going to use? Which areas of the map tend to be a little busier than others? Do you want to run into those areas? Do you want to take the long way around and stay clear? Always think about how you're going to be moving between control points. Keep an eye on who owns what control points also. If the enemy controls a point, they're probably going to be spawning near there if you have the other two. You can also predict the enemy movements by who owns what point, knowing that if an enemy just took a point, there's at least one of them there, probably more, and they're generally going to move toward a point that you have captured. So you have the chance to head them off or sneak around behind them and snag that point after they capture it. Another thing to be aware of is what is referred to as flipping the spawn. Now, if you own two control points, we'll say A and B, and your team is diving hard at C and you are pushed up in there too far, the spawns will flip. It'll spawn the enemy team back by the A flag, giving them a chance to capture that point and not get spawn trapped by your team. Next up, we have hotspots and safe points. First, hotspots. These are the places on the map where most of the action tends to happen. They're always going to be at control points in the control game mode, and they'll also occur in heavier used lanes and at the lane pass-throughs. You can expect heavy action in these spots. The map is on screen. Highlighted in red are the hotspots, and in green are the safer points. I've played a lot of hours on this map, and in my opinion, these are where I generally tend to see the most gunfights occur. Definitely be mindful of these hotspots when traversing the map, and know where you're at and know what you might be running into when heading through a pass-through or down a lane. Now, when I highlighted the green safe points, I probably should have called them safer points, because nowhere on the map is truly safe. But these are a little bit off the beaten path. You see the one over by the generators? That is generally a good safe point. You can take cover there if you're damaged, kind of collect your thoughts, but get moving quick, because if the enemy pings you on their radar, they'll be coming after you. The last piece of map awareness that we're going to touch on is cover and positioning. You should always be moving around the map with cover in mind. Know where the cover points are, know the cover that the enemy might be behind, and know the closest cover point to you that you can get behind if things get hairy. Now watch on screen. I use this big hunk of cover right in the middle of the map that extends all the way to the sky to get lucky and take out the first Guardian around the corner. Second one I'm able to melee down, and the third one I'm also able to put down for a triple kill. Just because I use some cover here and use some verticality to switch up the gameplay and not let them know exactly where I was behind this piece of cover. Now for positioning. Be mindful of where you are standing on the map. Position yourself for engagements that are good for you. Position yourself for engagements that are good for your abilities and the guns you're using. And know what weapons you might be facing when standing in that position. Try not to just stand in too many sight lanes. Here, I'll put this map on screen. I'll have a couple spots highlighted here that I see people standing in all the time, and it usually does not end well for them. The blue on the map is the Guardian's position, the green is the direction they're looking in, and the red is all of the attack angles that they are exposing themselves to by standing in that position. Now when playing this side of the map, here are some good positions to consider. See how by just moving a little bit off of those initial two, I know I put 5 up here, but just by moving off those initial 2, look how limited the attack angles are in that position. And look at where your sight line is at and how much area you can cover, just by taking a few steps in one direction or the other. One more thing to consider about positioning. If you are not a great Crucible player, you are going to want to position yourself behind your teammates. Now, we're running with teammates at the C point, and watch how many teammates go down. And just because I have taken a position behind them, I am able to live and get a few more kills and keep the enemy off C, giving us the chance to finally capture the objective, just by positioning myself behind my team.
Keep this up and the battle is yours. Wage war like a true titan. Together as one.
That's just about going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. The gameplay that you were seeing in the background was captured from 2 Crucible matches. We ended up with a 4.0 KD in the first and a 7.0 in the second. Not a bad showing for a mediocre player, I would say. And if there's anything to take away from that, it's that map awareness is king. It is so important to having good rounds in Destiny 2. If you are a low skill or casual player, and you keep map awareness in mind when you are in the Crucible, I promise you your KD will go up, and the more you do it, it'll start to become second nature. You won't even have to think about it anymore. Just focus on map awareness. With all that being said, I want to thank Relic again for letting me use his awesome map. It is so important to have an overhead view of things when trying to explain some aspects of this game, and it was very generous of him just to let me use his map in my video. And I would also like to thank all of you for viewing my video. So if you enjoyed my content and you think my advice is valid, please consider leaving a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel. Trying to build my presence on YouTube cannot be done without you guys, and your viewership and your support means the world to me. It truly does. If you'd like to catch me live and come hang out with me, I am on Twitch. Look for Ironworker814 over there. You can generally catch me weekend evenings, starting at 9, going till whenever I get too sleepy to keep going. That is Eastern time. Come on in, hang out, shoot the breeze with us, talk PvE, talk PvP, I don't care. I'll talk about anything on there. Just come check me out on Twitch if you would like. If you'd like to tweet me something on the tweeters, you could do that, or you could just leave a comment down below. I will promise to read all my comments from now till the end of time, so you can talk to me that way if you would like. With all that said, you guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.